Black History Month it's a Black History every day in my house.
That statement may come as a surprise hearing it from a Latina, but District 3 Commissioner Mariluz Garcia is the mother of 2 adopted Black children.
I mean, you just feel so much love and adoration for them just because they're just beautiful humans right out the gate, and you don't even have to know them to know that they're amazing. And so I went into the office, and she starts to talk to us about their background and where they were at in the process. And the first question that came to mind was, are there any other Black families that are in line to adopt these children? And the social worker just shook her head and she said no, that it was basically us and a potential rural placement.
The Elko native knows all too well about life in a rural area.
Growing up in a town that didn't have a lot of diversity in those early years, it was pretty difficult to have respect and to have opportunities for education and employment. And so, I'm very proud of my background, being Mexican and Basque, but there's also a lot of things growing up that can be really challenging. And my first exposure to colorism really was in the Mexican side of my family, where it became very apparent early on in my childhood that people were noticing and judging you based on the color of your skin.
Commissioner Garcia migrated to the biggest little city, studying at the University of Nevada, Reno, where she earned a bachelor's, master's, and PhD from the College of Education and Human Development. Public service has always been a mantra of hers. She references the devastating killings of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Rayshard Brooks in the summer of 2020 that pierced her heart in an unfathomable way.
I remember that night that I hopped on my phone and watched George Floyd be murdered, and I just sat there thinking that this could be my son, this could be my daughter. And as much as I love them and want to protect them, there are bigger forces at play, and I need to do whatever I can to make sure that they have the tools and that they're equipped with the knowledge and support to manage and navigate these horrific situations.
An unforgettable moment that woke up so many Americans to the atrocities that Black people face daily.
I mean, it's not a secret. People know Reno as the Mississippi of the West. That is a prominent name, and it is still true to this day. So while I was out celebrating with some friends, he just graduated, had an amazing time. Essentially, some guy came in to a Black-owned business, Black-owned bar, and instead of giving a tip, he wrote the N-word as the tip and handed it back to him.
Here's the actual receipt Chief Deputy Recorder Reggie Greer Jr. is referencing. He says this incident happened in the fall of 2023.
The gentleman that owns the bar, we grew up together. He's like family. And for him to come to me that night, show me the receipt, got us all a bit heated. We were all a little frustrated with it, but it was something that we had to highlight. So me, the owner, my brother, some friends, we all highlighted him. I think it's very important to show that if someone wants to be that vulgar, that demeaning to someone, that they should be a part of Black history.
He speaks not from his profession, but as a Reno native.
My feeling is that this is not going away anytime in our lifetime, and probably not in our children's lifetime, right? But I do have hope that it can be reduced.
He discusses how difficult it was to grow up biracial. The 2020 U.S. Census lists the Washoe County Black population at just under 12,300. That number was smaller during his childhood.
In middle school and high school, where I did do some things that were not traditionally things that African Americans, that Black people would do, like ROTC, like playing the band. But then I also did other things where I was an athlete. I did run track. I did play basketball. So I'm kind of bouncing between two, maybe not identities, but two groups.
My son has special needs, and I really worry that You know, one day if he becomes deregulated, that somebody will perceive him to be a larger threat. People don't know that people have special needs or mental health concerns. They just see a healthy young black boy and they react. And that's the reality I live every single day, is that fear I carry with me. I'm not black, I'll never be black, but I don't ever forget that the color of my skin gives me a privilege that my children are not afforded.
The goal of this piece is inclusion, not division. The county desires for you to understand life through the eyes of its diverse staff, where 68 of the employees identify as black.
It is everyone's fight if they believe that. I mean, if you were to look in current property records right now, to this day, there's racist language in there saying if you are of Mongolian, Chinese, African American descent, you cannot own property in this neighborhood. Now that's illegal, but if you were to buy a home in this neighborhood or any of these neighborhoods, you still have to sign that document to this day.
I'm a native of Hampton, Virginia, down in southeastern Virginia. And I first came to the West Coast as a student athlete at UCLA, where I played football and I ran track, and fell in love with this region of the country.
County Manager Eric Brown is the first black man to occupy this position in the county's history.
We certainly have a long history. It was founded in 1861, and certainly in the early years of our history, there are some things that were problematic for people of color, no question about it. But as we look forward, I think what I've found in the 4 years I've been here is people are open and hungry for finding a better way to do things, and that includes embracing more diversity.
He discusses the critical importance of relationship building outside of the county's offices, referencing a marvelous encounter with the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe in Nixon.
Just wanted to see if I could meet somebody and sort of establish a relationship. They were shocked because they'd never seen anybody from the county come talk to folks at the tribe, and certainly not at the tribal headquarters in Nixon. We sat down and we had a conversation where I just explained who I was and started to ask them about what some of the tribe's needs were.
It turns out, Manager Brown says, the tribe had a fiber optic network that ran from Interstate 80 to Nixon, and the county had a need to get broadband from Nixon to Gerlach. Well, here's photos from the opening of the library in Gerlach highlighting that very project.
That would not have happened if we had not established the right kind of relationship.
A lot of people don't know about Washoe County. They don't really know the breadth of work that happens at the county. And the county is, to me, where it's at. It's where we talk about parks. It's where we talk about voting. It's our juvenile services. It's so much with children, adults, and seniors. All of the health and human services is what really excited me about this position. You know, the fact that we have a black county manager, the fact that we have a Latina county commissioner, this matters. Representation matters.
Regardless of your background, being informed and being kind, well, those are everyone's responsibilities. Leaders say they're just getting started in terms of increasing diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in the state's second most populated county.